My wedding ring catches the autumn sunlight as I grip the steering wheel, sending familiar sparkles across the dashboard. 4 days early. The thought brings a smile to my lips as I pass the landmarks I've missed during 11 months abroad: Anderson's Hardware with its perpetually crooked sign, the corner bakery where Logan proposed 15 years ago, St. Michael's, where we exchanged our vows. I touch the Alaska travel brochure tucked in my purse. Logan's dream destination, finally within our reach after I accepted all those extra consulting projects. The thought of his face when I show him the tickets almost makes up for missing our anniversary last month. Just a few more minutes, I whisper, anticipating building as I turn onto Maple Drive. My mother-in-law Dorothy's colonial-style house comes into view, its crisp white paint gleaming in the late afternoon sun. I slow down, savoring the familiar sight, then freeze. Teal and orange balloons dance in the autumn breeze, dozens of them tied to the porch railings and mailbox. A handmade banner stretches across the front of the house, its careful lettering visible even from the street. "Welcome, baby Lucas." My hands begin to shake. I pull over, my brain refusing to process what I'm seeing. Dorothy doesn't know anyone having a baby. Unless... The passenger side mirror shows 3 cars I recognize. My mother's silver Lexus, Brianna's red Volkswagen, and Logan's black truck. Brianna, my college roommate, my maid of honor, the woman who held my hand through 3 years of fertility treatments and sat with me in the hospital after my miscarriage. My stomach lurches. I park behind a minivan I don't recognize, my movements mechanical. The click of my car door sounds too loud in my ears. Around me, autumn leaves skitter across perfectly manicured lawns, a normal suburban afternoon that suddenly feels like a nightmare. The side door isn't locked. Of course not, Dorothy never locks it during parties. Laughter and conversation spill from the living room, a chorus of familiar voices that twist something sharp in my chest. I move silently through the kitchen, muscle memory guiding my feet around the creaky floorboard near the pantry. The nursery's coming along beautifully, my mother's voice warm with approval. Logan's always been so handy. I stop breathing. He's painting the second-floor room this weekend. Brianna's voice, somehow both familiar and foreign. We just couldn't wait any longer. The second-floor room. The one I decorated 3 years ago in soft yellows and greens, before the miscarriage that shattered everything. The room I couldn't bear to look at afterward, that Logan promised to keep untouched until I was ready to try again. A teacup sits abandoned on Dorothy's antique sideboard. I pick it up, needing something solid to hold. Through the doorway, I see them all, about 30 guests mingling in the living room. My mother and Dorothy fussing over wrapped presents, and Brianna, perched in Dorothy's favorite armchair, one hand resting on a very pregnant belly. "Here comes Daddy with the paint samples," someone calls out, and Logan appears from the hallway, a fan of color swatches in his hand. He moves behind Brianna's chair, wraps his arms around her shoulders in a gesture so tender it steals my breath. "Just picked out the crib together last week," he says, pride evident in his voice. "One of those modern convertible ones that grows with the baby." The teacup slips from my numb fingers. It hits the hardwood floor with a sharp crack that sounds like breaking bones. Every head turns, every conversation stops. Even the grandfather clock in the corner seems to hold its breath. Logan's face drains of color. "Claire. Honey." My mother's voice high with panic. She reaches for my arm. "Let's talk outside." I step away from her grasping fingers, my shoes crunching on scattered pieces of china. The sound anchors me, keeps me steady as I meet Logan's eyes. "Don't stop the party on my account." My voice emerges calm, almost conversational. Someone gasps, probably Aunt Susan, always one for dramatics. "Claire, I can explain," Logan starts, but his words wobble and die. "Explain what?" The question floats out, cool as winter frost. "How you've been playing house with my best friend while I worked 60-hour weeks overseas." A bitter laugh escapes me. "Or maybe you'd like to explain how I've been paying our $2,100 monthly mortgage while you searched for your passion and apparently found it in my maid of honor." Brianna struggles to stand, her face streaked with tears. Claire, please. Don't. The word cuts through the air like a blade. Don't you dare speak to me. The room spins with familiar faces, family. Friends, neighbors, all of them here celebrating this betrayal. All of them knowing, all of them silent. The weight of their collective deceit presses against my chest until I can barely breathe. I think of the video calls at odd hours, checking on Logan between international meetings, the extra consulting projects I took to maintain our lifestyle while he found himself, the Alaska tickets in my purse, bought with bonus money I earned sleeping in foreign hotels and eating airport meals. The irony almost makes me laugh. Almost. I turn on my heel, head high, shoulders straight. The practiced posture of 1,000 corporate presentations now holding me together like invisible armor. Claire, wait. My mother's heels click rapidly behind me. Honey, we didn't want to upset you while you were away. I pause at the front door, one hand on the knob. Well, mother, I say, each word precise as a surgeon's cut. Consider me upset now. The door closes behind me with a quiet click. I walk to my car, each step measured and calm. Only when I'm behind the wheel, only when I've turned the corner and Dorothy's house disappears from my rearview mirror, do I allow myself to scream. My phone buzzes for the 47th time since I checked into the Westin. The screen lights up with Logan's name, his smiling face from our last anniversary dinner staring back at me. I place it face down on the nightstand, next to the neat stack of fresh towels the housekeeper brought an hour ago. The hotel room stretches before me, immaculate and impersonal. I unzipped my largest suitcase, the one that accompanied me through 11 months of international airports. Each garment emerges precisely folded, a habit born from countless hotel rooms across 3 continents. I arrange my clothes in the closet by color, sleeve length, and formality. The ritual steadies my hands. A text notification breaks through my do not disturb settings, my mother. The words blur as tears finally spill, hot and unwelcome, onto my cheeks. I sink onto the edge of the king-size bed, my fingers clutching the duvet until my knuckles whiten. Logan's photo still lights up my lock screen. Logan's arms around my waist, my head thrown back in laughter. I can't remember what was so funny. The laptop opens with a soft click. My fingers hover over the folder labeled Suspicions, created 2 months ago when Dorothy's vague responses about Logan's personal growth journey triggered something in my gut. The home security app's footage loads. Brianna's red Volkswagen parked in our driveway at 2:14 p.m. on a Tuesday, again at 11:30 a.m. the following Thursday. 17 more timestamps. Meticulously documented. Logan's text messages scroll past. Working late tonight, don't wait up. Meeting a potential client. Having dinner with the guys. Each lie cataloged, dated, screenshot. Below them, credit card statements tell their own story. Purchases at Pottery Barn Kids, Bye Bye Baby, a high-end children's boutique downtown. My throat constricts as I open our family group chat. Cryptic messages surface like evidence at a crime scene. The situation is delicate. We need to handle this carefully. Claire's so busy with work. It's better this way. Photos from Easter brunch, Thanksgiving dinner, casual Sunday gathering celebrations I missed while earning the money that funded them. Brianna appears in each one, her pregnancy progressing through the seasons like a time-lapse video of betrayal. A message from my mother to Logan stops my scrolling. We're handling Claire as best we can. The words swim before my eyes, decades of family loyalty reduced to conspiracy. A knock at the door startles me. Through the peephole, I see my father, his tall frame stooped with what looks like the weight of years rather than age. When I open the door, his eyes are red-rimmed behind his wire-rimmed glasses. I told them this was wrong, he says simply. The dam breaks. I collapse into his arms like I'm 7 years old again, falling off my first bicycle. His cardigan smells like pipe tobacco and old books, the scent of Sunday afternoons in his university office. They stopped inviting me to family dinners. he murmurs into my hair. Said I was being difficult, making things uncomfortable for everyone. I pull back, wiping my eyes with the heel of my hand. I have something to show you. The laptop screen illuminates his face as I walk him through my digital archive of destruction. His mouth sets in a grim line with each new revelation. The next morning, Barbara's office feels more like a war room than a law practice. The stern-faced attorney in her 60s spreads my financial records across her mahogany desk like battle plans. Mortgage statements, utility bills, property taxes. Barbara's silver reading glasses catch the light as she nods approvingly. All in your name, all paid from your accounts. She taps a manicured nail against Logan's sparse work history. He doesn't have a leg to stand on. The divorce papers feel weightier than their 20 pages should allow. My signature flows across each marked line, the same Mont Blanc pen I've used to sign million-dollar contracts now dissolving my marriage in precise strokes. We'll file first thing tomorrow, Barbara assures me, sliding the papers into a leather folder. Given the documentation and your sole ownership of the house, we can have him out by month's end. I pick up my phone, my finger hovering over Logan's number. The message is brief. Contact my lawyer. Block contact, delete thread. The action feels like cauterizing a wound. Later that day, my mother arrived as I was reviewing property listings online. Her rapid knock echoed through the hotel corridor. Claire Elizabeth Wilson, open this door immediately. I take my time walking to the door, smooth my hair, adjust my collar. She bursts in like a storm front, designer handbag swinging. You can't throw away 15 years of marriage, she declares, hands planted on her hips. What will people think? I didn't throw it away. My voice remains steady, a skill honed in boardrooms. He did. You'll regret this when you're alone at our age. Her lips purse, the same expression she wore through my teenage rebellions. I mean her eyes. Like you regret staying with Dad after his affair 30 years ago? The color drains from her face. For the first time in my life, my mother has nothing to say. My phone buzzes again. Logan's 12th new number this week. I click the screen without reading the message, adding it to my blocked list with the others. Through my hotel window, morning sunlight bathes the parking lot where security removed him yesterday, his hands raised in surrender as he stumbled backward, still calling my name. The bouquet he sent fills the room with a cloying sweetness. Pink roses. He always forgets I prefer white. The card trembles in my fingers. For the baby's sake, please. Such careful penmanship, as if beautiful handwriting could mask ugly choices. Another delivery at the front desk, Miss Morgan. The concierge's voice crackles through my room phone. Would you like me to send it back? My voice stays steady, practiced from a dozen similar calls. And Patricia? It's time to update the restricted visitors list. I pull up my banking app, muscle memory carrying my fingers through the familiar steps. Logan's name vanishes from our joint credit card with a single tap. Next comes Netflix, then Spotify, then our shared cell phone plan. Each digital severance feels like cutting a string, watching a balloon drift away into the endless blue. The diner's bell chimes as I push through the door, breathing in the familiar scent of coffee and bacon. Dad sits in our usual booth, his crossword puzzle already half finished. His eyes crinkle behind wire-rimmed glasses as I slide into the cracked vinyl seat. You look better this week, he folds his newspaper with careful precision. Less shadows under your eyes. Dr. Martin says I'm processing well. I stir cream into my coffee, watching it cloud the dark liquid. She specializes in betrayal trauma. It's like a house fire, you can't save everything, but you can choose what to carry out. Dad nods, his silence a comfortable blanket. We developed this ritual 3 weeks ago. Wednesday breakfast, far from the family haunts where Mom might corner us with her lectures about forgiveness and second chances. Catherine called last night. The words slip out between sips of coffee. She has a guest room in Portland, says the consulting firm's West Coast office is expanding. Portland. Dad tests the word like a new flavor. That's a fresh start if I ever heard one. My phone lights up. Logan's sister Rachel. Just so you know, I get it. What they did. I couldn't look Mom in the eye for weeks after I found out. Call if you need anything. A laugh bubbles up, surprising us both. Dad raises an eyebrow. Logan took a job delivering packages. I show him the text. Guess that philosophy degree finally came in handy. His startled chuckle mingles with mine, the first real laughter I've felt in weeks. Outside, an elderly couple walks past hand in hand, matching gray heads bent together in conversation. Something twists in my chest, not quite pain, not quite longing. I carried him for years. The words emerge slowly, weighted with realization. Through the failed art gallery, the unfinished novel, the yoga teacher training he abandoned after 2 classes. I thought I was being supportive, but you were just enabling. Dad's voice holds judgment, only understanding. My journal lies open on the table between us, its pages filled with the neat handwriting I inherited from him. Today's entry stares up at me. I've been alone in my marriage for years. Now I'm just alone on paper. After that difficult conversation with my father, I find myself facing another reality of my new situation. The financial advisor's office smells like leather and lemon polish. Martha peers at my retirement accounts over silver-rimmed glasses, her gray curls bouncing as she nods. The financial advisor's office smells like leather and lemon polish. Martha peers at my retirement accounts over silver-rimmed glasses, her gray curls bouncing as she nods. We'll move everything into your name only. Her fingers tap efficiently across the keyboard. The prenup you signed actually works in your favor here. Have you thought about the Portland position? I pull up the email from my boss. They're offering partner tracks, better benefits, higher base salary. And distance. Martha's eyes meet mine knowingly. Distance is worth its weight in gold. My LinkedIn profile glows on my phone screen. The cursor blinks where Pierce used to be, waiting. I type Morgan with steady fingers, letting my maiden name reclaim its space. The house key feels foreign in my hand as I park in the empty driveway. Logan's delivery shift ends for hours. Inside, the silence wraps around me like an old sweater, familiar but ill-fitting now. My heels click across hardwood as I walk room by room, cataloging what's mine. The living room Artal purchased with my bonuses. The kitchen remodel I paid for last spring. The master bedroom where the nursery door stands ajar. Yellow walls I painted myself 3 years ago peek through the gap. My hand trembles on the doorknob. 1 breath. 2. I push it open. Teal and orange stripes replace my careful neutrals. A half-assembled crib leans against one wall, its instructions scattered across the floor like fallen leaves. I close the door without stepping inside. In the master bedroom, I collect only what matters most. Mom's pearls, my first business cards, and the photo album from before. The wedding dress hangs in its garment bag like a ghost. I leave it there, a silk and lace monument to what's already dead. The fluorescent lights of Marshall's pharmacy hum overhead as I study cold medicine labels. A sharp intake of breath makes me turn. Brianna stands frozen in the vitamin aisle, one hand resting on her swollen belly. Tears fill her eyes. Claire, please. Her voice cracks. It just happened. We never meant. Nothing just happens for 7 months. My words slice through her excuses with surgical precision. He loves me. She steps forward, desperation etching lines around her mouth. But he needs your forgiveness to move on. We both do. I return the cold medicine to its shelf, suddenly too tired for this conversation. Then I guess he'll never move on. The next morning, the envelope from Logan's lawyer lands on my desk with a soft thud. Barbara's reading glasses perch on her nose as she scans the contents, her smile growing wider with each page. He's contesting the divorce. I slump in my chair. Claiming he deserves alimony since I was the primary earner. This, Barbara taps the papers with one manicured nail, is actually good news for us. I blink. How is this good news? Because, she spreads the documents like playing cards. He just handed us exactly what we needed. By claiming he supported your career, by maintaining the home, He opened the door for us to present evidence of exactly how little maintenance he did. Your records of paying every bill, his string of abandoned projects, the mortgage solely in your name. Her smile turns predatory. He doesn't realize it yet, but he just lost everything. The steering wheel feels cool under my palms as I park across the street from what used to be our home. 3 months since I walked in on that baby shower, and the autumn trees have shed their leaves, leaving skeletal branches against a pewter sky. A sheriff's deputy stands on my front porch beside a man in a charcoal suit, clutching a leather portfolio. Right on schedule. Logan opens the door in wrinkled khakis and an untucked Oxford shirt, his hair sticking up like he just rolled out of bed. Behind him, Brianna hovers in the foyer, one hand resting on her swollen belly. The sight no longer twists my stomach the way it did 3 months ago. "What's going on?" Logan's voice carries across the quiet street. "Who are you people?" The deputy adjusts his stance. "Sir, we're here to serve an eviction notice. The mortgage on this property hasn't been paid in 3 months." "Eviction?" Logan's face drains of color. "This is my home. You can't." His eyes scan the street and lock onto my car. He jabs a finger in my direction. "She's right there. She's doing this." The bank representative clears his throat, opening his portfolio. "Mr. Pierce, according to our records, the property is solely in Miss Morgan's name, without payment or written agreement." "You vindictive bitch!" Logan starts down the front steps. The deputy moves to intercept him, one hand raised. "Sir, please stay calm." Brianna waddles onto the porch, her floral maternity dress fluttering in the November wind. "Claire." Her voice cracks. "Claire, please. You can't do this to us. Have some compassion. Think about the baby." I roll down my window 2 inches, just enough for my voice to carry. "I hope Logan knows how to drive for Uber." The words float across the land, steady and clear. "Because you're going to need it." I watch them pack through my windshield garbage bags of clothes, boxes of baby items, Brianna crying as she cradles a stuffed giraffe against her chest. Logan slams the trunk of his car 3 times before it latches over their hastily gathered belongings. When they drive away, I wait exactly 5 minutes before walking up the familiar path to my front door. The key slides home with a soft click. Inside, the air hangs stale and heavy with traces of Brianna's vanilla perfume. Signs of their life together litter every surface. Prenatal vitamins on the kitchen counter. A pregnancy book splayed open on the coffee table. Logan's attempt at organizing shows in the crooked stack of mail by the door, bills mixed with baby shower cards. In the living room, dust coats the mantel where our wedding photo used to sit. A new frame has taken its place, Logan and Brianna at what looks like a doctor's appointment, both beaming at a sonogram printout. I pick it up, considering its weight. Then I open the empty fireplace and let it fall. The glass cracks with a satisfying crunch. My phone buzzes. Dorothy's name flashes on the screen. "How dare you?" Her voice trembles with rage when I answer. "You're destroying a family. Do you understand what you're doing?" "Dorothy." I run my finger through the dust on the mantel, drawing a clean line. "Your son wrecked his own home when he moved his pregnant girlfriend into it. No one will take your side in this. The whole family stands with Logan." A laugh bubbles up from somewhere deep in my chest. "They already didn't. Or did you forget hosting his baby shower while I was overseas?" I end the call and move through the house, opening windows. Fresh air rushes in, carrying the crisp scent of approaching winter. In the kitchen, I find a pile of male baby shower invitations with my name scratched out, a sympathy card from my colleagues at the consulting firm, an email printed out from a mutual friend warning Logan that I've turned vindictive. The doorbell rings. Barbara stands on the porch, her silver hair gleaming in the afternoon sun, a thick folder tucked under her arm. The judge laughed. "What?" "Logan's alimony claim." She steps inside, her practical pumps clicking on the hardwood floor. "When I showed the documentation of your income covering all expenses while he found himself." The judge actually laughed out loud. Shortest hearing I've had in 20 years of practice. The signed dismissal feels light in my hands. just a few pieces of paper ending 15 years of marriage. I traced the judge's signature with my fingertip, remembering the weight of my own signature on our marriage license, the promises we made that day in St. Michael's Passance. You did the right thing, Barbara says softly. I look around the empty living room, at the space Logan and Brianna tried to fill with their new life, while the ghost of my old one lingered in every corner. I know. The letter arrived on a Tuesday morning, Logan's familiar handwriting slanting across the cream envelope. Claire ran her thumb across her name, written without her married tightly, a small detail that might have hurt months ago. She settled into the window seat, autumn sunlight warming her shoulders as she unfolded 3 pages of desperate pleading. Logan's words stumbled over each other, ink smeared in places where his hand must have shaken. I know I messed up, Claire, but she seduced me. You were gone so much, working all those hours, and Brianna understood how lonely I was. Claire's lips curved into a smile devoid of warmth. Of course he'd blame Brianna now. She fed the pages into her new shredder, watching them turn to confetti. The sound reminded her of applause. A knock at the front door interrupted her thoughts. Through the peephole, she spotted her mother and Aunt Susan on the porch, clutching what looked suspiciously like a devotional book. Claire, honey? Her mother's voice carried through the door. We know you're home. Claire counted to 10 before opening the door, remembering Dr. Martin's advice about setting boundaries. This is unexpected. We brought tea. Aunt Susan held up a tin of Earl Grey like a peace offering. And some spiritual guidance. 5 minutes later, they were sitting in Claire's pristine living room, steam rising from delicate cups she'd bought to replace the wedding china. Her mother kept sneaking glances at the empty walls where family photos once hung. We've been praying about your situation, Aunt Susan began, flipping open a well-worn Bible. Yellow highlighter marked several passages about forgiveness. Claire sipped her tea, letting the familiar bergamot calm her nerves. How thoughtful. Marriage is sacred, her mother added, hands twisting in her lap. 15 years, Claire. That's not something you throw away lightly. I didn't throw it away. Claire set down her cup with precise control. Logan did that when he gave away our nursery to another woman's child. Her mother flinched. Aunt Susan rustled through more highlighted pages. But forgiveness is between me and God. Claire's voice remained gentle but firm. Trust is between me and Logan, and that's broken beyond repair. The phone rang before they could argue further. Claire recognized her father's number and excused herself to answer it. You'll want to sit down for this one, kitten, he said, using her childhood nickname. Claire perched on the edge of her desk. What happened? Brianna had the baby last night. Healthy boy, 8 pounds even. Her father's voice softened. Logan missed it. He was working a double shift driving for Uber Eats. Claire waited for pain or jealousy to hit. Instead, she felt oddly weightless, like watching storm clouds pass over someone else's house. They're already fighting about money, her father continued. Logan can't afford the apartment they rented. Karma works faster than lawyers sometimes, Claire murmured. The next revelation came over lunch with Catherine at their favorite bistro. Sunlight sparkled off the wine glasses as her friend leaned forward, voice low with delicious scandal. Brianna filed for divorce yesterday, Catherine reported. She's asking for $500 a month in child support. Claire's laugh surprised them both. On his delivery salary? Good luck. What goes around really does come back. Catherine raised her glass in a toast. Sometimes it brings friends, Claire agreed, clinking glasses. The next week, the estate sale drew more neighbors than Claire expected. They drifted through her driveway like vultures, picking over the bones of her marriage. The wedding china went first, then the anniversary gifts, then the vacation souvenirs. Each sale felt like cutting another thread that had tied her down. Mrs. Anderson from next door bought the leather armchair Logan always claimed as his spot, even though Claire's salary had paid for it. Such a shame about your situation, dear. The situation improved drastically once I removed it, Claire replied, counting out the change. A familiar black truck crawled past the house, Logan's face visible behind the wheel. He watched people carry away pieces of their shared life but didn't stop. Claire turned back to her cash box, refusing to give him the satisfaction of her attention. Finally, after 2 weeks of preparations, the Portland apartment felt like a fresh page in a new journal. Sunlight poured through uncurtained windows as Claire walked the empty rooms with her realtor, measuring spaces in her mind. "Will anyone be joining you, Mrs. Pierce?" The realtor's pen hovered over her clipboard. "It's Miss Morgan now." Claire smiled, studying the kitchen's clean lines. "And no, just me." She'd already chosen new furniture, ordered to her exact specifications. No compromises, no consulting anyone else's taste. The thought sent a shiver of pleasure down her spine. The final legal notice arrived by certified mail. Logan appealed the divorce settlement, claiming he supported her career by maintaining their home during her business trips. Claire's laugh echoed in the empty apartment. Barbara, her lawyer, sounded positively gleeful on the phone. "The judge took one look at our documentation and dismissed it. You kept every receipt, every bank statement, every corporate reimbursement form. It's beautiful. I learned to document everything after the first time he lost our tax records," Claire said. The final hearing passed quickly. Claire wore her lucky blazer, the one she saved for closing million-dollar deals. Logan's shoulders hunched in an ill-fitting suit as the judge systematically dismantled his claims. "The court finds no evidence of material contribution to household expenses or career advancement," the judge concluded. Petition for appeal denied. Claire walked past Logan without a glance, her heels tapping a victory march on the courthouse floor. She felt his eyes following her, but his gaze held no more power than a shadow at noon. Outside, autumn painted the trees in triumphant colors. Claire tilted her face to the sun, breathing in air that tasted like freedom. Her phone buzzed with a text from her father. "Proud of you, kitten." She smiled, typing back, "Taking myself to dinner to celebrate. Love you." Later that night, the hostess at her favorite restaurant led her to a quiet corner table. "Just one tonight?" Claire ordered champagne, remembering all the times she'd eaten alone in hotel rooms while paying Logan's bills. "Just one," she confirmed. "And that's exactly perfect." The breeze carries the scent of fresh paint through my Portland apartment as I adjust the angle of my latest watercolor, a sunrise over Mount Hood captured during last week's painting class. Beside it hangs a photo from my solo trip to Denali, my smile genuine as I stand against the backdrop of snow-capped peaks. No trace remains of the life I left behind a year ago, not even a stray coffee mug or forgotten book. I step back, checking the alignment. The morning light streams through windows I insisted on when choosing this place, catching the crystal vase where fresh peonies bloom. Friday's flowers, my weekly gift to myself. My phone buzzes. Dad's smiling face fills the screen as I answer. "The book club loved your recommendation," he says, his voice carrying the warmth I've come to associate with his new retirement community. Though Martha thinks Hemingway was a bit of a blowhard. Martha's not wrong. I curl into my favorite reading chair, the leather still stiff and new. "How's the arthritis?" "Better since I started those Tai Chi classes. Speaking of which, Dr. Martin thinks I should try it too." "Oh?" I trace the chair's armrest, remembering our last session. "We're focusing on future plans now." She says I'm ready. "You are." The pride in his voice wraps around me like a blanket. "You always were stronger than you knew." My phone pings with a text notification. Brianna's name appears, and my stomach tightens. Not with pain anymore, just weary recognition. "Dad, I need to go. Talk next week?" After we hang up, I open the message. I know I have no right to ask. The words blur as I read about Logan's missed child support payments, about her struggles with baby Lucas. My finger hovers over the delete button. Instead, I type, "I wish you and Lucas well, but our paths diverged a year ago." Send, block, breathe. The kitchen timer chimes. The scent of roasting turkey fills the apartment as I check the oven. 6 friends coming for Thanksgiving dinner. My first time hosting since the divorce. No wrestling with Logan's mother's dry stuffing recipe or enduring his complaints about my cranberry sauce being too tart. My father arrives first, his silver hair neatly combed, carrying a bottle of my favorite Pinot Noir. As others filter in, the apartment fills with conversation and laughter. No tension, no unspoken judgments, no careful treading around difficult subjects. Dad raises his glass. To new traditions and second chances. The words settle in my chest, warm and right. I look around my table, friends who know me only as I am now, not as Logan's wife or the woman who walked away. The absence of old pain surprises me, like a wound that's finally scarred over, leaving only the memory of its sting. Later that week, I found the travel agent's letter in my mailbox. The Alaska cruise confirmation makes my hands tremble, but not from fear. 7 days exploring the inside passage, all the places Logan and I once planned to see together. I pin the itinerary to my refrigerator, right next to my promotion announcement and the watercolor class schedule. The morning of departure dawns clear and cool. I stand at the Portland harbor, watching the sunrise paint the water in shades of pearl and gold. My wedding ring weighs heavy in my pocket. I'd found it last night while packing, tucked away in a drawer I rarely open. Seagulls wheel overhead as I pull it out. The sapphire catches the light, sparking memories of a younger woman who wore it with such hope. I kiss it once, gently, then draw my arm back. The ring arcs through the air, catching one final glimmer of sunlight before disappearing beneath the waves. Fair winds and following seas, I whisper, the old sailor's blessing feeling right on my tongue. The cruise ship towers before me, pristine white against the morning sky. The captain greets me with a warm smile as I board, my single suitcase rolling smoothly behind me. I explore the decks with unhurried steps, noting the library, the art studio, the dining room where I'll sit with strangers who might become friends. In my cabin, I unpack my journal, leather-bound, a gift to myself when I signed the lease on the Portland apartment. The blank page waits, clean and full of possibility. Like the horizon stretching endless and bright before the ship's bow. Like the life I've chosen to write for myself one word at a time.